Fake children hired in Africa, and Harry and Meghan's dark secret stripped naked. Alright, friends, here we go. I've got a lot of information, and I'm going to give it to you in no particular order. I'm simply not in the mood to organize everything that we have found. Now, Meghan said we got to have kids right away, and Harry said something like, okay, well, let's see. Harry simply did not want to commit to a date. And then in Africa, there was a white child hired to play archofficial with a 1-year contract. He was not supposed to be photographed, though, for a 1-year period, so that nobody would be able to notice him. And of course, there was also an NDA involved. The nanny was 100% phony. That was just a PR shot. Archie in Africa had those unattached earlobes. And then Freedom Archie, all of a sudden the earlobes were somehow attached. Harry claims that he painted those two pictures, but he failed art. When asked to paint, he flat out refused. Harry was discharged early from the army, because of chronic insubordination apparently, and the fact that he would utter these racial slurs, that he refused to follow the rules. The people in the army didn't like him, and apparently he had ADHD too. He does take medication for it. Allegedly, he also has dyslexia. Diana and Beatrice supposedly are also dyslexic. After they got engaged, Harry started to find out a lot more about Meghan Markle. He wanted to end things, but Meghan blackmailed him. She threatened him. She was desperate. William shouted at him, and Charles was so angry, and Harry ignored the both of them. Corey and Trevor apparently reached out to Harry to try to let him know what was up with her, to tell him not to marry her. Tom Inskip heavily warned Harry to please not marry that woman. Meghan was sleeping with so many different men. Meghan didn't have a car, she didn't have a home, she didn't have any money, she had absolutely nothing to her name, she didn't have a pot to piss in. She called the racist card with Harry, and Marcus was the one who set up Meghan with Harry while Meghan was living with Corey at the time. Her PR people lied about her money. She was never making $50,000 per Suits episode. She wanted to marry somebody she thought was wealthy. Now, Charles told Harry to let her keep on with her acting career. Nobody knew that she was being written out of the show, though. Maybe the producer got wind of her sleeping with everybody. Without Harry, she was and would still be absolutely nothing, a nobody. It was well known back then that Meghan Markle was on the hunt for a rich person to take her to another level. Soho bedrooms are filled with sex and drugs, and Meghan Markle has essentially stayed at all the Soho houses. Let's remember, she has never truly owned anything. She was known to be taking so much cocaine, she took other drugs, she was an alcoholic. In the photos of her with Marcus at the Toronto Invictus Games, she looked like the devil, and they were escorted out. Now, it's been known that a long time before she got involved with Harry, Meghan Markle would call and set up these paparazzi shoots. She was desperate to try to get her name out there. She doesn't have any talent. She doesn't have style. She's too old for anything or anyone at this point. She's got no brains, and I'm sorry, but she's got no beauty either. Her skin is terrible, and her body is bizarre. She's a dull grifter. She's always looking to mooch off of somebody else. Tom Inskip is a threat to Meghan. He slept with her along with Harry and some other friends too. Harry hired her, there was a video made, and now Meghan and Marcus are plotting Harry's demise. Marcus worked and trained with Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein knew to film every little thing, because then they would use it as blackmail. Now Marcus apparently is the bastard son of Andrew, and everything about Marcus was scrubbed clean from the internet. And Marcus will never get over the fact that he is not recognized as the son of Andrew, and it was way before Koo Stark, the porn actress Andrew dated. So the meaning of Archie's name, Harrison is son of Harry, and Anderson would be son of Andrew, Marcus Anderson. Yeah, pretty cryptic meaning, huh? Meghan and all her friends, people who had anything on her, were paid off with money and had to sign NDAs. Meghan has narcissistic rage towards her father Thomas because she believes that he abandoned her. She loathes anything that has to do with her family and her origin. Meghan Markle is a hardened, older divorcee. Doria is just used to remind people that Meghan's going to pull out the race card whenever she wants to. She's a coward, hiding behind this false narrative. And if challenged, well, she's just going to cry racism. She has lied about her not dealing with racism her entire life. And supposedly, Doria was called the N-word right in front of Meghan. People thought that Doria was her nanny. Doria stole her father's house away from her siblings. Doria is a con artist and a fraud. Harry has beaten up working girls, he's abused animals, he has bragged about the people he killed, he bullied his classmates, a whole smear campaign against his family, the royals. I mean, he attacks bodyguards and paparazzi, and he also has that fantasy about killing his father. Harry is also a racist and a liar. There were many men who turned away from Meghan. They didn't want anything to do with her, but Harry was the exception, and I believe that he was blackmailed. Now, Megxit apparently is all Meghan's idea, not Harry's. A trust run by William and Harry is missing some money now. I wonder who that could have been. Marcus apparently would sneak into Tyler Perry's house to go to Meghan's bedroom, and that was while Harry was away. Now, Marcus is never going to be very far away from Meghan. It might not be that we always see him, but he's always there. Staff have said that Harry has been incredibly weak, but he's also sensitive. Meghan would scream and shout at Harry when they were living in Tyler Perry's home. I am curious if anything was stolen. Harry and Meghan, along with Marcus and Doria, are very dangerous people. They're sociopaths. Meghan carries the doll, artificial, with a string hanging out for her to pull his arm up. Meghan's instability should be recognized. She's unsuitable to marry Harry. So apparently the test that was performed on Diana was a virginity test. It was not a fertility test. And of course, Meghan had neither. I'm sure we know why. Did Thomas support Meghan being a prostitute? Well, Meghan and Harry can just forget Malibu. It's never going to happen. They cannot afford to buy anything there. They can't even afford that Olive Garden-looking house in Montecito. Apparently the house has flooding issues and some kind of bad smell. Yeah, good luck selling that one. Meghan couldn't take anything royal, particularly jewelry, to the US, and that's why they believe she changed her engagement ring. Now, once upon a time, Diana's diamonds were in her ring. Andrew and Marcus are together in photos on yachts along with Meghan. Meghan and Marcus do have an agenda. They think with the royal family, at least. Meghan is not allowed at Soho House without an escort. She is actually not a member. Harry and Meghan should not be allowed to get anywhere near the Invictus Games. They just ignored their veteran neighbor. Meghan had to seal her fate by acting like she was pregnant. And then after Harry discovered the truth, that it wasn't true, after he listened to her BS story, he just decided he wanted to play along. When they went to New Zealand, Meghan had to get away from Andrew's drama, that court case. For the trip to Australia, actually, there could have been Zika issues, and pregnant women are advised not to travel. Meghan was seen out drinking while she was pretending to be pregnant, and then supposedly she was pregnant again in Amsterdam, but again she was drinking. Royals simply do not do adoption or surrogacy or IVF. Harry attended a dinner party that Meghan Markle was not invited to, and boy did she become enraged when she saw Harry was sitting beside Rose. So she was the one who started that nasty rumor about William and Rose having an affair. She gave the story to Giles Corrin, who connected to Soho House. Harry apparently doesn't want to pay taxes either, and that's the reason why he does not want to be a citizen of the US. Both Harry and Andrew have diplomatic immunity, and Harry doesn't really want to obtain permanent status. Marcus was born in 1978, Meghan was born in 1977. The Queen told Harry and Meghan that the kids shouldn't have titles. Meghan didn't like that, so she pulled that stunt just to give the kids their own titles. No prince or princess titles for the Spare and the Tramp. Harry was going to take Meghan to a yacht party, apparently, not knowing that she was already hired to attend. Meghan Markle was not invited to the Sandhurst meeting. She flew to Canada with some dogs and a doll, and there was the Archie string, of course. She had a whole list of demands that she relayed to Harry, and none were granted. She called up Oprah, Oprah called Tyler Perry, and then he put them up for about 6 to 12 weeks until they were tossed out. Oprah doesn't have any morals, so she decided to get Meghan on for that stupid interview, which was a complete failure. It ruined her career, and Gail's too, really. And then what about the stalker, Kevin Valdoviras, 29 years old? He was hired. He was hired to stalk the house, but do we hear anything about the stalker and the taxi guy? Well, absolutely not. Well, Malibu, I don't believe, has a sizzler. Monticello Place, Old McCormick property. Constitution laws, the fraud of the century. The government of Great Britain has the responsibility to make sure that the individuals in the line of succession are eligible for it. Royals are just letting the government deal with this whole mess. If treason is suspected, then confidentiality can easily be waived. There was no royal witness there. There was no doctor who signed the birth certificate. Meghan refused to show the media the original documents. Archie, a doll, was born weeks before he was shown. Meghan gave birth while Harry was apparently high out of his mind, and all three of them miraculously were home in a couple of hours. Oh yeah, and supposedly security brought them some food. Yeah, what a miraculous moment that was. And apparently, part of the reason that Harry is so messed up in the head is that the doctors told Diana to push, and she pushed so hard that Harry hit the wall and landed on the floor. The doctor and the staff were absolutely amazed. And then Meghan came out so highly, Doria thought that she was at a retreat sitting in a mud bath. There are no parents, they're just taking drugs and being drunk away for weeks at a time. The miscarriage and that whole fetus burial is a bunch of nonsense, too. No parent at any school is going to sign an NDA for these two. Homeschooling is going to be their excuse. I mean, there's not going to be any suing for any stories on the fake children. I wonder why. It's because Meghan Markle cannot risk that. She told the royals that she fired her agent and her lawyers in the US. Well, that was another big fat lie. Meghan is not going to get anything, though, of Harry's inheritance. She only gets what they have earned for the time they've been married, not a penny more. Well, if Archie looks like he has some kind of problem, it could be that maybe he needs a drink. Meghan drank apparently throughout the entire pregnancy. I guess soon enough we should see her with a tray of $4.99 salads for her customers, and Harry's going to be out of the picture entirely.